Prepare to be dazzled as we embark on a journey through some of the world's most notorious mansions. Adorned with extravagant features and steeped in scandal, these lavish estates were once the domains of mafia bosses, fraudsters, drug kingpins, and ruthless dictators. Financed with the spoils of their illicit activities, these opulent residences offer a glimpse into the darker side of wealth and excess. Join us as we explore the intriguing histories and lavish interiors of these infamous properties, each with a story to tell of crime, corruption, and illegal money.
Guys, this is basically the story of Larry Price and the abandoned mansion he left behind. The full history, the facts, details, everything about this, why the house is abandoned, where they're at today, and any of the progression, plus video clips and pictures of the whole entire house. Probably one of the coolest houses I've ever made a video on, so let's go ahead and jump into the footage.
The developer of the largest mansion in Billings, who's accused of faking his own kidnapping in Virginia to flee his massive debts, today pleaded not guilty in federal court in Billings to charges of wire fraud.
38-year-old Larry Price Jr. faces 6 counts of wire fraud for soliciting $13.5 million from investors in a Wyoming company and then allegedly spent the money for his own use. The court indictment alleges Price transferred money from banks in West Virginia, Texas, and Wyoming to his accounts in Montana.
This past May, Price was charged in Virginia federal court for lying to federal investigators after he claimed he was kidnapped by a biker gang, then robbed at his bike shop there.
If convicted, Price could face up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. He is not being held in jail.
This is the Larry Price Mansion. Larry Price is the man behind the largest house ever built in Billings, a 10-bedroom, 15-bathroom castle with 3 pools and an elevator on Billings' far west end. The Three Blind Mice LLC are the creditors which claim the title to the $10.5 million home in May. A former Billings mansion owner with deep ties to the coal industry has pleaded guilty to federal charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and lying to federal investigators. Larry Wayne Price Jr., 38, admitted to the charges Tuesday morning in the U.S. District Court in Billings, as a part of a plea agreement filed by prosecutors earlier in the day. He pleaded guilty to 3 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering, and 1 count of making false statements to federal investigators. Price is a former vice president of surface mining activities at Signal Peak Energy, a company that operates a coal mine near Roundup and has been associated with other businesses in Montana and Virginia. He is also known locally as the man behind a more than $10 million, 26,000 square foot mansion that is the largest residential building ever constructed in Billings. For each of the 3 counts of wire fraud, Price faces up to 20 years in prison. The conspiracy charge also has a maximum sentence of 20 years, and lying to federal investigators carries a penalty up to 5 years in prison. Not to mention, Price must also pay back more than $20 million in restitution for financial activity that defrauded 3 companies over an 18-month span that ended this April. Included in the terms of Price's restitution is a lengthy agreement that spans 5 properties in Montana, including his West End mansion, a property in Virginia, an unspecified amount of jewelry purchased after his financial fraud began, a motorhome, 6 boats, and 4 trailers. This ginormous, absolutely gorgeous house will now sit behind and collect nothing but dust.
Up next, we visit Elizabeth Holmes Mansions. Elizabeth Holmes, once celebrated as America's youngest self-made female millionaire at age 30 in 2014, is now serving a 9-year and 7-month sentence in a federal women's prison camp in Texas for fraud. Holmes amassed a fortune through her startup Theranos, which claimed to have created groundbreaking technology capable of performing hundreds of health tests with just a single drop of blood. By the time it was exposed that the technology was ineffective, Holmes and her co-founder, Sunny Balwani, had defrauded investors out of over $712 million. Charged in 2022, Holmes saw her original 11-year sentence reduced by 2 years in July 2023. In her prime, Holmes' net worth soared to an astonishing $4.75 billion in 2014. That same year, she and Balwani, who was then the president and chief operations officer of Theranos, as well as her boyfriend, purchased an opulent 5-bedroom mansion in Atherton, Silicon Valley for $8.9 million. Spanning 9,400 square feet, the luxurious home sits on just over an acre in one of the area's most affluent neighborhoods. Built in 1934, the gated estate boasts elegant living spaces, including a wine cellar and a wet bar, while the meticulously landscaped grounds feature a swimming pool, a detached guest house, and an air-conditioned loggia. After Holmes and Balwani parted ways in 2018, Balwani bought out Holmes' share of the property for $8.1 million, making him the sole owner. Amid the legal chaos that followed, Balwani put the mansion on the market in 2021, and it eventually sold in 2022 for $16 million, a sum likely needed to cover his legal expenses. During her 2021 criminal trial, Holmes and her partner William Evans were reported by CNBC to be staying at Green Gables, one of America's most expensive private estates. While the main house was listed for a staggering $150 million, the couple rented one of the 6 more modest homes on the sprawling 78-acre property. The secluded estate provided a refuge from the intense media scrutiny surrounding her trial, though her choice of such a lavish residence drew significant public criticism, especially considering the $690 million Theranos had raised from wealthy investors. Holmes and Balwani were ordered to repay $460 million to the victims of their fraud, which included high-profile figures like media mogul Rupert Murdoch. However, given the magnitude of their debts and the extent of their financial ruin, it appears unlikely that the defrauded investors will ever see their money returned. Holmes' dramatic rise and fall from a billionaire entrepreneur to a convicted felon continues to captivate the public, serving as a stark reminder of the perils of unchecked ambition and deceit in the business world. Up next, we visit the case of Melissa Caddick, often dubbed Australia's Bernie Madoff, proves that truth can indeed be stranger than fiction. Caddick swindled a little over $15 million from her clients, friends, and family to fund a lavish lifestyle, which included art, jewelry, clothing, a luxurious Sydney mansion, and a high-end penthouse now set for auction in October. Before facing justice, however, she vanished, leading to a gruesome discovery months later. Outwardly, Melissa Caddick appeared to live a typical life. The 49-year-old resided with her husband, Anthony Coletti, in Sydney's Dover Heights and worked as a financial advisor. Beneath this facade, she was running an elaborate Ponzi scheme comparable to the infamous American conman Bernie Madoff. Her scheme collapsed in November 2020 when the Australian Federal Police and the Australian Securities and Investments Commission raided her home. It was later revealed that Caddick had defrauded 72 investors through her bogus financial services company, reportedly using an associate's financial services license to carry out her scam. Her husband has denied any involvement in her crimes. Hours after the 2020 raid, Caddick disappeared. 3 months later, her decomposing foot, still inside a running shoe, was found washed up on a beach on the south coast of New South Wales. An inquest in May 2023 concluded that Caddick was deceased, though the circumstances of her death remain unclear. Speculations that she amputated her own foot to evade capture were dismissed, especially given her lack of contact with her son. As the full extent of her fraud became known, auctions of Caddick's possessions were held to recover funds for her victims. One of her significant assets, a plush penthouse, is set for auction on the 10th of October by Richardson and Wrench Double Bay. The Edgecliff, New South Wales apartment, with its sweeping views of Sydney Harbour, is expected to fetch between $2.5 and $3.4 million. Caddick purchased the 3-bedroom property for just over $2.1 million in 2015 for her parents, Barbara and Ted Grimley, who later claimed they had contributed over $550,000 towards its purchase in exchange for a third ownership. This dispute was settled in federal court in June 2023, with the Grimleys accepting a $500,000 payout and relinquishing their ownership claim. They have not been accused of any wrongdoing. Another property, the Dover Heights home from which Caddick disappeared, sold in October 2022 for $6 million. Of the sale proceeds, $1.2 million was allocated to Caddick's victims. This opulent residence featured 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a swimming pool, and an alfresco dining area. Following her disappearance, Anthony Coletti continued living there until May 2022, when liquidators took possession and evicted him. Unsurprisingly, Caddick's dramatic and mysterious tale has attracted the interest of TV producers eager to bring the story of Australia's most notorious scam to the screen. Up next, we visit mafia boss Paul Castellano's mega mansion. Welcome to the iconic White House of Staten Island, a legendary property with a rich history deeply rooted in local lore. Once the domain of mob boss Paul Castellano, this sprawling estate boasts a staggering 8 bedrooms, 17 bathrooms, and a magnificent car showroom, making it a true gem of the borough. Nestled behind private gates on the prestigious Todd Hill, the world-renowned estate captivates with its grandeur and elegance. Situated on 2.5 acres of meticulously manicured grounds, the property offers breathtaking views of the Verrazano Bridge, creating an atmosphere of unparalleled luxury and exclusivity. Step inside and discover an entertainer's paradise, complete with resort-like amenities that redefine lavish living. From the opulent wine cellar to the personal beauty parlor and state-of-the-art home theater room, every corner of this neoclassical mansion exudes sophistication and style. Indulge in relaxation and wellness with a gym, sauna, solarium, and library, or take a dip in the indoor-outdoor Olympic-sized pools for the ultimate escape. The property has undergone extensive renovations since Castellano's tenure, yet its mystique as a former mob house adds an intriguing layer to its history. A highlight of the estate is the 13-car showroom, perfect for showcasing your automotive collection in style. Despite its notorious past, the White House stands as a symbol of luxury and prestige, offering a glimpse into a bygone era of power and influence. Once home to Big Paul Castellano, the former head of the Gambino crime family, this magnificent residence is now seeking a new owner to continue its legacy of grandeur and sophistication. Don't miss the opportunity to own a piece of history in this iconic island landmark. With Castellano out of the way, Gotti then took over the family and earned the nickname Dapper Don before losing a battle with cancer and dying in prison at age 61 in 2002. The Castellano name has, however, continued to appear in the headlines, including in 2013 when Paul's grandson was arrested for illegal waste carting. We visit this drug dealer's mansion. The notorious residence with the distinctive blue metal roof and scanniatelles is now available for purchase following extensive renovations. Let's delve into the background of the property's former owner and the circumstances that led to its notoriety. Charles Blomquist commenced construction on the property in 2003, investing a staggering $1.7 million of illicit drug proceeds into the project, as alleged by prosecutors. However, before completing the mansion, Blomquist found himself behind bars after pleading guilty in 2011 to charges of money laundering and tax fraud, resulting in a sentence exceeding 7 years. As part of his plea deal, he relinquished ownership of his unfinished Scanniatelli's estate. Prosecutors asserted that Blomquist had accumulated substantial wealth through his involvement in the drug trade, spanning back to the 1980s. Despite maintaining claims of legitimate income derived from the sale of skiing and snowboarding equipment, his criminal record revealed numerous convictions for drug-related offenses dating back over 3 decades. Blomquist's contentious relationship with the law extended beyond his criminal activities, as evidenced by his involvement in various altercations with law enforcement and local residents. Notably, he obstructed neighbors' views and engaged in confrontations with the town's code enforcement office, resulting in repeated visits and stop-work orders. Dubbed the Castle, the Blue Roof Inn, and the IHOP, the property gained infamy within the community during Blomquist's ownership. Law enforcement's search of the premises in 2009 uncovered incriminating evidence, including drug paraphernalia and literature on marijuana cultivation, further solidifying its reputation. Following Blomquist's departure, Syracuse developer Cosimo Zavaglia acquired the property at auction in 2012 and completed its construction. Now listed for $4.33 million, the residence offers a glimpse into its tumultuous past while presenting an opportunity for prospective buyers to own a piece of history.
A 5-year probe into an elaborate multi-million-dollar mortgage fraud scheme involving mansions in one of the city's most prestigious neighborhoods has led to an arrest of 4 men. While such fraud cases are often lengthy, Toronto police say this investigation, dubbed Project Brittle Path, took a crazy amount of time because it hinged on a lawyer who skipped town and only resurfaced recently. In spring of 2013, officers became involved in a sophisticated, complex mortgage fraud investigation into several high-end properties, which the level of fraud is valued at $17 million. In March 2013, around the time cops were diving into the fraud case, Toronto lawyer Gulnaz Valkylie, then 33, allegedly fled the country, reportedly leaving a note for her husband that explained she was heading to Europe. The next month, her assets were frozen, and the Law Society of Upper Canada suspended her license, a license she just obtained a few years earlier, according to police. Investigators at the time also issued a warrant for Valkylie's arrest on charges of fraud, perjury, and uses of forged documents. Investigators allege she helped others involved borrow large sums of money for private lenders. Basically, how the fraud went was, investors were allegedly introduced to people who pretended to be the owners of luxury properties. Forged documents were produced to add legitimacy to the transactions and mortgages that were expected to be secured on the homes that were never registered. Fazeli said they borrowed money against properties they did not own, explaining second mortgages were allegedly obtained by producing fake property titles and home insurance policies to convince lenders that they were the real owners. He said in some cases the loans were a few $100,000, while in others involved as such as $1.5 million. This mansion is located on Park Lane Circle, which also happens to be the street where hip-hop superstar Drake is building a 35,000 square foot mansion with an indoor basketball court. The mansion they're leaving behind is even located in Brittle Path. This stately gated mansion is located at 7 High Point Road in the prestigious Brittle Path neighborhood of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and situated on 2 acres. It boasts 14,000 square foot of spacious living space with 6 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, 12 to 13 foot ceilings on the main floor, 10 foot ceilings on the second floor, and a great hall with sweeping staircase of 3 sets of French doors leading to the gardens. It also includes formal living and dining rooms, elevators, libraries of double-sided fireplaces, a gourmet kitchen, a breakfast room, a ballroom, tea room, billiards room, family room with French doors leading to the covered terrace, and more. This house is listed at $14 million. The house will now forever sit behind until a new project manager either comes over and finishes the build, or this house will likely remain abandoned until the case is fully completed and then maybe put back on the market. Police have laid fraud charges on the 4 men that were involved and even had fraud charges for the lawyer. Their sentences have not been released, but we can expect them to be pretty lengthy jail times.
Up next, we visit the Gotti family's abandoned mansion. I actually explored this place myself, so I can use all my video clips to tell the story. A prominent figure in New York's underworld, Carmine the Bull Agnello, entered into an illustrious union when he married Victoria Gotti, daughter of the notorious crime boss, in 1984. Their matrimonial abode, a 5-bedroom estate located in the quaint village of Westbury on Long Island, became their familial haven in 1989, where they resided with their 3 sons, Carmine Jr., John, and Frank. Agnello's illicit dealings eventually led to his incarceration in 2001, serving a 9-year sentence for racketeering, extortion, and arson. During his imprisonment, Victoria initiated divorce proceedings in 2003, citing constructive abandonment, and was granted ownership of the residence. With her sons, Victoria ventured into the realm of reality television, starring in shows like Growing Up Gotti and Growing Up Gotti 10 years later. However, the once grand Gotti mansion, where much of the series was filmed, has since deteriorated. Vacant since 2016, when it was raided by the FBI in connection to a tax fraud investigation, the property has fallen into disrepair. The family's auto parts store in Queens, NYC, also faced scrutiny during the investigation. In 2018, Carmine Jr. reached a plea deal related to operating an illegal scrap metal yard, avoiding jail time. Despite the mansion's abandonment, traces of its former opulence remain, such as the striking butterfly staircase and tiled foyer. Once a coveted piece of real estate on Long Island, the home is rumored to have been previously owned by Victoria's father, Dapper Don Gotti, who spared no expense in its adornment. Although the family never returned following the FBI raid, subsequently, the residence fell into foreclosure and was auctioned off, reportedly acquired by J.P. Morgan Chase National Bank for nearly $2.7 million. Up next, we visit Birdmans Mansion. Recent updates on the fate of Birdman's sprawling mansion have been compiled from various sources, complementing our own investigation revealing that the property has returned to the market with an asking price of $15 million. Previous reports from other outlets suggested that the Cash Money CEO had been ousted from his lavish Miami Beach, Florida residence and had his personal belongings seized. However, Real estate attorney Alan Sovin contends that the public has been misled, with much of the narrative favoring the lender's perspective. Most of what you've heard is simply inaccurate, asserts Sovin, who aims to provide a comprehensive account of the situation. I want to present the complete and accurate facts, he emphasizes. According to Sovin, supported by legal documentation, the lender lacks the authority to foreclose on the property, and Birdman has not faced eviction, with all his possessions remaining intact. Yet, the story is rife with complexities involving a Saudi prince, the aftermath of Hurricane Irma, Lloyd's of London, and what Sovin describes as an unlawful predatory loan with detrimental terms. Birdman acquired the mansion, constructed in 2003, from Rockstar energy drink founder Russell Weiner for $14 million in 2010. While most of the purchase was financed with cash, a $5 million mortgage was obtained. The property underwent extensive renovations, transforming it into a luxurious retreat adorned with lavish features like marble finishes, custom lighting, and opulent animal print wallpaper. Notably, Birdman installed 2 golden toilets valued at $50,000 each. However, complications arose when a balloon payment on the mortgage was due, prompting Birdman to seek refinancing from another private lender. The lender converted a $5 million residential mortgage into a $12 million commercial mortgage and imposed a 24% penalty fee, all in violation of state and federal laws, alleges Sovin. By reclassifying the loan as commercial, the lender circumvented regulations safeguarding individual borrowers from predatory lending practices. Despite Birdman's compliance with repayment obligations, the loan's burdensome terms came to light during negotiations for a refinancing. Subsequently, foreclosure proceedings were initiated by the lender, prompting Birdman and Sovin to counterclaim against the lender, citing fraudulent and illegal lending practices. While selling the property at its current listing price seems a feasible solution, Sovin remains committed to providing updates on the ongoing legal proceedings. Meanwhile, Birdman continues his successful music career and prepares for his upcoming marriage to Toni Braxton. Up next is the infamous Manhattan penthouse once owned by Bernie Madoff. Known for orchestrating the largest Ponzi scheme in history, Madoff defrauded his clients of an astonishing $64.5 billion. His downfall came in 2008 when he was arrested at his luxurious Upper East Side penthouse. This neoclassical gem, built in 1927, served as the stage for Madoff's 24-hour house arrest after he posted a $10 million bail, awaiting trial for his crimes. Spanning nearly 4,000 square feet, the apartment boasted opulence befitting its former owner. With 3 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and grand reception rooms offering views of Manhattan's skyline, including the Chrysler Building, it's no wonder this property stood out in Madoff's portfolio. However, his ill-gotten empire collapsed, and in 2010, federal authorities sold the penthouse to recover funds for his victims. Toy mogul Alfred Kahn, famed for the Cabbage Patch Dolls, purchased it for $8.9 million, though he reportedly worried about its bad karma. The penthouse re-entered the spotlight recently, listed for $15 million. Despite modern updates, including new appliances in the kitchen and sleek fixtures in the marble-clad bathrooms, the home retains much of its historic charm. The sweeping staircase and dramatic curved landing are showstoppers, and the skyline views continue to captivate. Adding to the property's lore, the Kahn family faced personal turmoil after acquiring the home, including a divorce, sparking rumors of a curse. Items from the penthouse were also auctioned off to aid victims of Madoff's schemes, closing the chapter on one of the most notorious financial scandals in U.S. history. Bernie Madoff himself passed away in 2021, leaving behind a legacy of deception and a penthouse steeped in intrigue. Next, we turn to the lavish Los Angeles mansion once owned by Malaysian businessman Joe Low. Known for financing the blockbuster film The Wolf of Wall Street, Low is now a fugitive wanted by the FBI for his alleged role in Malaysia's multi-billion-dollar corruption scandal. Accused of laundering billions in illegal proceeds, Low denies all charges and remains on the run. Before fleeing the U.S. in 2012, Low acquired a stunning contemporary mansion in LA's Hollywood Hills for $39 million. This sleek, glass-fronted residence, perched in a coveted celebrity enclave, was a true modern marvel. With its expansive deck showcasing panoramic city skyline views, the property was designed for luxury and entertainment, However, after Lowe fled the country, federal authorities seized the property and listed it for sale. In 2019, the 6-bedroom, 7-bathroom mansion sold for $19 million, far below its original $25 million asking price and less than half of what Lowe had paid. Originally built in the 1980s, the 13,000-square-foot estate underwent a dramatic transformation by renowned developer Niall Niami, who turned it into a glass-clad showstopper. The home featured sprawling open-concept interiors, floor-to-ceiling windows, a separate guest house, and even a guardhouse. Curiously, Lowe reportedly spent little time in the mansion and removed many of its fixtures and fittings before abandoning it. Much of Niami's high-end design work was damaged or undone by the time the home hit the market. Despite this, the buyer still scored a remarkable deal and is likely to see a substantial profit when the house is eventually resold. This Hollywood Hills home stands as another symbol of excess tied to Lowe's controversial legacy. Next, we explore Pablo Escobar's hidden retreat in Mexico. Once estimated to have a net worth of up to $30 billion, Escobar, the notorious Colombian drug lord, ranks among history's wealthiest and most infamous criminals. As the founder of the Medellin cartel, he controlled over 80% of the cocaine entering the United States at the height of his reign. While his main residence was in Colombia, Escobar also owned a secluded hideaway in Tula, Mexico. Nestled within dense jungle and featuring beachfront access, this estate was a fortified sanctuary where the king of cocaine evaded law enforcement. With bulletproof walls and heavy security, it was a safe haven for the cartel leader. Despite these precautions, Escobar's criminal empire came to an end when he was fatally shot in Medellin in December 1993. Following his death, the Tulum property was abandoned and fell into disrepair. In 2012, New York art dealer Leo Malka purchased the estate and transformed it into Casa Malka, a luxurious 71-room boutique hotel. Today, it's considered one of Mexico's most exclusive destinations. The hotel retains elements of its shadowy past, including a secret underground pool hidden within a cave, rumored to have been used by Escobar to stash cash. Guests are also treated to stunning beachfront gardens with swings and hammocks, exquisite dining at 2 gourmet restaurants, and a collection of priceless art curated by Malka himself. Casa Malka stands as a striking contrast to its dark history, now offering relaxation and indulgence in a once-forbidden paradise. Next, we head to Bernie Madoff's former beach retreat in the Hamptons. Alongside his Manhattan penthouse, the disgraced financier owned this stunning oceanfront property situated among the scenic dunes of one of New York's most coveted vacation destinations. Madoff and his wife Ruth purchased the 2-acre plot in the 1980s for $250,000 and built the home that once stood there. By the time U.S. Marshals seized the property in 2009, it was worth a fortune but had fallen out of style. One local agent described it as a dated 1980s eyesore in a spectacular location. That didn't deter its new owners, Stephen Ruth and his wife, Tony Award-winning producer Daryl Roth, who bought the house for $10 million and enlisted a renowned architect for a complete overhaul. The transformation was dramatic. The 3,000-square-foot residence, which originally had 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, was stripped down and reimagined. Highlights of the renovation include a breathtaking double-height great room with vaulted barrel ceilings, a relocated front entrance moved from the second floor to the ground level, and a striking 30-foot stone fireplace. Modern amenities such as an advanced smart home system and a beautifully designed freeform swimming pool add to its allure. After the makeover, the property was listed for nearly $20 million in 2018. It hit the market again in 2020 and is now back for sale at $23 million. With its impeccable redesign and unbeatable location, this former Madoff estate continues to command attention in the luxury real estate market. Next, we visit the extravagant palace of Ferdinand Marcos. As the president of the Philippines from 1965 to 1986, Marcos ruled over a regime infamous for its brutality and corruption. Accused of election fraud and using martial law to consolidate power, he and his wife, Imelda, amassed an estimated fortune of up to $10 billion during his presidency. Their opulent lifestyle was reflected in a vast collection of luxury properties, including this palatial residence in the capital city. Built in the late 1970s, the sprawling 22,000-square-foot mansion was a symbol of excess. Packed with expensive art and antiques, it showcased Imelda Marcos's penchant for grandeur. The property included shrines, a heritage museum, and numerous portraits of Imelda commissioned from top artists, including one depicting her rising from the sea like a goddess. Lavishly adorned with gold mosaic tiles, gilded furniture, and elaborate light fixtures, every corner of the palace screamed opulence. The master bedroom was no exception, featuring a regal canopy bed and intricate gold accents. The palace's grandeur, however, was short-lived. In 1987, the Marcos family fled the Philippines after the People Power Revolution, leaving behind their many mansions, including this one. Today, the property stands as a museum, offering a glimpse into the couple's extravagant and controversial legacy. Next, we explore Charles Ponzi's former home in Lexington, Massachusetts, a colonial revival gem linked to one of history's most notorious con men. Charles Ponzi, the mastermind behind the infamous investment scam that now bears his name, was among the most prolific fraudsters of all time. His scheme paid returns to investors using funds from newer clients, creating an illusion of success. In 1920, at the height of his deception, Ponzi purchased this stately residence just months before his arrest on 86 counts of mail fraud. By then, his scams were raking in over $300,000 a day, equivalent to $3.2 million in today's money. Flush with cash, Ponzi spared no expense, hiring servants, including a butler and a cook, and indulging in luxurious upgrades like silk wallpaper, air conditioning, and a heated swimming pool. Unfortunately for Ponzi, his time in the lavish home was brief. His fraudulent empire collapsed, leading to a 16-year prison sentence. The property later passed into the hands of a prominent lawyer who kept it for 70 years. The 7-bedroom, 5.5-bathroom estate was last sold in 2015 for $3 million. Though it has been remodeled, many original features from Ponzi's time remain, including intricate moldings, zinc sinks, and the butler's pantry. The elegant dining room, with its regal wallpaper, chandeliers, and expansive dining table, offers a glimpse of its 1920s grandeur. The property also boasts a charming carriage house and nearly an acre of picturesque gardens. Next, we visit the opulent mansion of Nicolae Ceausescu, the communist dictator who ruled Romania during the 1970s and 80s. While the country struggled with crippling debt, food rationing, and widespread poverty, Ceausescu and his wife, Elena, indulged in unimaginable luxury. Known as Spring Palace, their Bucharest residence stood as a monument to their excess and power. Constructed in the 1960s, the mansion features a grand columned entrance and an intricate marble facade. Inside the principal reception room is a masterpiece of extravagance, adorned with gilded furniture, ornate marble details, valuable artwork, an opulent chandelier, and a vast Persian carpet. Every corner of the room gleams with gold finishes and the finest materials money could buy. The master bedroom reflects the same lavish tastes, complete with golden furnishings, Murano glass mirrors, and yet another stunning crystal chandelier. The property also boasts a striking indoor swimming pool, its walls and floors adorned with intricate mosaic tiles and marble crafted by Bucharest's finest artisans. Perhaps the most ostentatious feature of the home is the bathroom, where even the taps and toilet roll holders are made of solid gold. Ceausescu's rule ended abruptly in 1989 during the Romanian Revolution. He and Elena were convicted of genocide and executed by firing squad on Christmas Day. Today, Spring Palace is owned by the Romanian government and has been transformed into a museum, offering a glimpse into the excessive lifestyle of one of history's most notorious dictators.
All right, everyone, I think that's going to wrap this video up. Like I mentioned in the beginning, follow all my social media, and also 50% of the people who watch me don't subscribe. So just if you're watching, just click the subscribe button. It's free. It means a lot. And then an alternative option would be to become a member, which costs a couple dollars, but then, you know, I'll be calling you guys, FaceTiming you guys. You get cool badges. You get exclusive videos. I'll be making videos that I can't show, like public channel. So you guys get a ton of cool features and by clicking here and becoming a member. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you guys. Thank you for the constant support. Feel free to share this video on anything, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.